Hey everybody, my name is David Vidal. Welcome back to my personal channel, Socials Awkward. I wanted to take a second and show you about a quick fix that I made on my sticky throttle. If you've been watching my TRex content, then you'll remember that last season I did a video on the M4 exhaust and how they sounded. Well, during one of my sound tests when I was passing another vehicle, it sounded like I was power shifting, and somebody actually commented. They said, "Hey, do you normally power shift when you ride?" And the answer is no, I don't normally power shift when I ride. But he was kind of identifying a problem that I was having with my TRex, which was a sticky throttle. That is, when I would try to shift, the throttle would stay engaged partially, and it would sound like I was power shifting so that the engine wouldn't come down just as quickly as it should when you pull your foot off the gas pedal. It didn't really bother me that much until I started doing some canyon riding in South Dakota, where engine braking by pulling your foot off of the throttle becomes very, very important. So I got in touch with Duran Burnside at TRex site in Atlanta. That's where I bought my TRex. And Duran is amazing at aftercare. He spends as much time with you as you need. He'll give you all the support that you need. Today, I'm going to embrace my inner Todd Kerber, hey TRex fans, and show you guys a little maintenance that I did on my TRex. One of the things I first checked was where my pedals were oriented. I have my pedals quite close to me because I'm a short guy. And so I thought that was maybe causing some kink or a tight bend on the wire. So the first thing I tried was to zip tie it off with a nice curve, and that actually did work for a little while, but it wasn't a long-term fix. The problem started to manifest again not long after. So I ended up tackling it from the pedal all the way to the throttle body. The first thing that I did was lubricate the swivel that's connected to the throttle up front, and made sure that that big sweep on the throttle cable wasn't really extreme, wasn't very tight, but I lubricated everything that I could, and then it was time to take the engine covers off and attack this throttle body. So I lubricated all around the throttle body and the throttle body itself and all the springs, including pushing down on the throttle to remove the cable from the throttle body itself so that I could spray lubrication all the way down that throttle cable, at least as far as the spray could get it. Once that was complete, I hooked the throttle cable back up to the throttle body, and it was into the cockpit where I had to take off this side panel. It was only in by 4 bolts, not that big of a deal. And it also gave me an opportunity to address this sharp edge. I put a softener on it last season. So I just made that look a little bit nicer. And then when I reinstalled it, everything was perfect. But back to the problem at hand, I am looking for any spot where the throttle cable has been zip tied down to the frame in any way. And sure enough, I found where the throttle cable was zip tied down, and it was zip tied pretty tight. Not so tight, but it was tight enough. I cut that zip tie off, freeing the throttle cable, and then re-zip tied what was there, not including the cable, so that the cable could run freely. And then with my hands, I just kind of back and forth that throttle cable to make sure that it was good and free between where it comes over the side panel and where it goes into the throttle cable. To be honest, I was a skeptic. I did not think this was going to solve my problem. I thought this was just another box to check before I ended up replacing my cable. But what I found out after a short test drive is that the throttle cable was moving freely, and it seems to be working very, very well. To be fair, I was only able to go on like a 5 or 6 mile test drive because of the weather conditions where I live. It's still quite nasty out here. So I do need to take this up the canyon and do a good long ride and just make sure that things are moving well. But it's pretty encouraging at this point. It seems like it's working just fine. Pretty easy fix here. I know that on some of the older TRexes, you'll have a throttle cable that goes down underneath kind of by your feet and has kind of a direct line of sight with the throttle body. I'm not sure when they started changing all that, but mine goes like up and over around the side and through the firewall and all this. So it's a lot of, you're asking a lot from a throttle cable to work properly. But Everything seems to be working really well right now. My T-Rex has been an absolute dream. It hasn't really been a problem at all. No real maintenance issues outside of this little throttle thing, which seems to be an easy fix today. What about you? What little things did you have to overcome on your T-Rex? Drop that in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. As always, be nice and ride safely. See you out there.